The develop module is where you as a photographer will spend most of your post-processing time. It is where you will create masterpieces from your photos, the place of real action. It lets you adjust the colors and the tonal scale of your photos, crop photos to the required dimensions, and remove red eye, and make lots of other corrections. Welcome to the 5th episode of Tutorials on Using Lightroom by Incredible Nature Photography. My name is Avanindra and this series is a step-by-step guide in using Adobe Lightroom. Let me take you to a brief tour of the Develop module in Lightroom. As with all modules of Lightroom, we have the left and the right panels along with the film strip and the toolbar. The left panel in the Develop module contains presets, snapshots, history and the collection panel along with the copy and paste buttons. The right hand side panel contains histogram, tool strip and the adjustment panel. What is an histogram? Check out this older video. The adjustment panel contains all the correction sliders and settings required for an image. It contains the basic and the tone curve sliders, the HSL color and the split toning for creative work. Detail panel for sharpness and noise reduction, lens corrections to remove any distortions which may be visible in an image, transform panel for perspective corrections, effects for creatively adding vignette, and the calibration panel to calibrate your images to your liking. At the end, we have the previous and the reset buttons. The film strip remains at the bottom like always. The toolbar now has got a new buttons, the loop view, reference view and the before and after view along with the soft proofing view. What is a preset? A preset is a predetermined position of sliders in Lightroom. A preset might be as simple as setting exposure or as complicated as completely changing the look of a photograph. In other words, you can edit a photo to your liking and then save that exact combination of slider positions for future use on another image as a preset. To preview how a preset will look on a selected photograph, hover over the preset without clicking. Notice that the image preview changes in the navigator as well as in the working window. Think of a snapshot as something you would use when editing a photo and you get a different editing idea or effects you want to try. You create a snapshot of all the current settings you have for the image at that exact point in time. Then continue editing. If you think that the new editing is better, leave the snapshot as it is. But if you think that the earlier edited image is better, then you just go to the snapshot panel and click the one you created for it. Lightroom reverts all the settings to whatever you had when you first created it. The history panel stores a history of all the adjustments you made to an image. You can use the history panel to get back to any point in your processing workflow for that particular image. To go back to any recorded point in history, simply click on the step in the history panel. The history entries don't disappear but remain even after you close Lightroom. History state does not take up much space at all on your hard drive, so deleting your history is not recommended. Collections, as explained in the earlier video here, are a way to group photos in one place for easy viewing or for performing a variety of tasks. Lightroom automatically creates smart collections such as rating stars, labels, etc. Moving on to the right hand panel. The first section, as explained in this video here, displays the tonal value of all the pixels of an image in a graphical format known as an histogram. The next panel below the histogram is the basic panel. The basic panel is where we start making our photos look as good as we imagined them when we shot them. It is the foundation before any other processing. The very first setting you can change in the basic panel is the treatment of the image. You have two settings: color, which is set by default and keeps your image in color, and black and white, which is a great way to start working on a black and white look of your image. Let's get back to color for this session by clicking on the color button. A profile translates the unprocessed image data in a raw file into a colored pixels we see on screen as a photograph. Camera manufacturers build profiles into the camera like landscapes, portraits, faithful, etc. to process photos in specific ways. Lightroom has these and lots of other creative profiles to process images. Simply hovering your mouse on a specific profile thumbnail displays the applied profile. If you like a particular profile, simply click on it. As of now, I will reset all the settings applied to this image by pressing the reset button at the bottom of the panel. There are as many as 3 different ways in Lightroom to correct the white balance. The first way is where Lightroom automatically sets the white balance for you through the drop-down menu at the right. It also has preset white balance settings, which are the same settings you see in your camera. The second auto method is by using the eyedropper tool. To correct white balance, find a grey area and click on it with the eyedropper. Lightroom will set the white balance using the point as reference. The third method is where you set the white balance manually using the temperature and the tint sliders to arrive at the neutral white color for that image. The first sliders in the tone section is the exposure and the contrast sliders. To control the overall brightness of your image by making it either darker or brighter, use the exposure slider. Whereas, to adjust the contrast, use the contrast sliders. Below the exposure and the contrast, we have highlights, shadows, whites and blacks. Highlights are areas above the midtones and below whites. Similarly, shadows are below the midtones and above blacks. White and black tones come at the extreme ends of an image. The next section in the develop module is the presence section, which contains clarity, dehaze, vibrance and saturation. You can change the midtone contrast in your image by moving the clarity slider. To soften an image, move the slider to the left. Haze can be caused in images by a variety of factors. This could range from conditions with the atmosphere or fog to man-made conditions like pollution. Move the dehaze slider to the right to reduce the haze in an image. You could even add haze to an image for creative effects. Saturation increases or removes the overall color of an image equally. Vibrance is a subtle adjustment that tries to retain the skin tones in your image. Let's now see how much the image has improved after all these corrections. Pressing the YY button on the toolbar gives us the before and after views. Now for a few tips and tricks shortcuts. Shift double clicking the whites or the black names on the slider automatically sets the white and the black points in a photograph, thus increasing the dynamic range. If you need to reset any particular section, hold down Alt or the Option key, which will bring up the reset button in each section. The reset button at the bottom of the right panel resets all the settings applied to an image to no corrections. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below, and when you're down there, don't forget to subscribe. I take seminars and workshops on regular basis on Lightroom. Check out the descriptions.